Morning children, welcome to today's class. So as you all know, in the last class we have studied about animal life, is it not? So I'm going to stop that lesson there only. Why? The textbook which was due for you, the new learning science was prescribed, is it not? So that textbook, because of some printing problem, we are not able to give that book. Your textbook has been changed, okay? So soon you will be getting your new textbook. So that is Connect with Science. Your new textbook will be Connect with Science, okay? Yes, sir. So in this, the lessons are the same, but the contents in that are different. So I wanted to start or just revise the first lesson. From the first lesson, whatever the contents are there in this textbook, I wanted to go according to that textbook. Okay. So before I start with the lesson, I wanted to give one information regarding the notes. Since the notes has been already sent, the first lesson growing plants is sent, second lesson animal life has been sent, and the July worksheet is been sent, is it not? I think many of you have taken down the notes, you have written in your notes. Yes. Now, one thing I wanted to say about that is, so if you have already copied the two lessons, so it is well and good. So no need to do anything for that. So let it be. Or if you have copied only the first lesson, growing plants, so no need to copy the second lesson, because the second lesson is entirely different. It is not regarding the animal life. Okay, so if those children who have copied already the second lesson, it will not go waste. It will be like extra information for you regarding the animals. Okay, so need not worry, let it be. You can continue the new second lesson notes, which will be sent earlier, as soon as possible. The notes will be sent for you. Got it, children? So first lesson, let it be as it is. So don't tear or scratch or take a new book and write. Don't need to do all those things. So first lesson, growing plants, let it be. Even though the question answers are different in the new textbook, so those questions only you read and prepare for the test also. Got it? The diagrams, the question answers, everything, let it be as it is. So second, if you have written or not written, so don't worry about that. So no need to practice that for the test. So new lesson will be sent. Got it, children? And regarding the books, so I had already said it is 192 pages single line book for your classwork. And many have a doubt to write homework, which book to use to write the homework. Since you don't have last year's book, if you have, you can use that, or you can buy a new book and write. Got it, children? And then the worksheet part of it. So that also take 200 pages long book. Make partition, 6 partition in that, and use that book as worksheet for all the subjects. You can write that worksheet for all the subjects. Okay. So 192 pages is for your classwork, and 100 pages if you have, or if you don't have, you can buy it and use it for your homework. And then the long book, that also you have, you use, otherwise take a new book and use it for your worksheet. And worksheet book you need not submit for correction, only the classwork and the homeworks should be submitted. Got it, children? So this Wednesday anyhow you are going to submit the classwork. So if you have written only the first lesson, it is good, bring it and submit the classwork. Or if you have completed the second also, no problem, submit the classworks by Wednesday. Got it, children? Okay. So now let me just recall about the reproduction of plants. So in the last what I explained, it was, the name of the lesson was growing plants. Now it is reproduction in plants. Both are same, but few contents are different, which I'm going to just revise in this class. Okay. So you already know that our life, so 80% of our life is largely dependent on plant and plant products. So whatever we use in our daily life, so the food, fruits, vegetables, oil, everything is mainly dependent on plants. So that is why we have to grow plants. And the living things are not they are not going to live forever. So once their life completes or lifespan completes, they are going to die. They are no more. And then if we want the for example, plant only, from the plant only, we will not be getting the plant and the plant products. So there is necessary for us to grow the plants. So growing plants of its own kind is called as reproduction. So it is ability of the living things to produce new ones, young ones, which resemble their parents. Now suppose you put apple seed in a soil, you sow in apple seed in the soil, so you get apple only, apple tree only, apple plant only. Or if you sow mango, you get mango plant. So if you sow apple, you don't get mango, or if you sow mango, you don't get apple. So it resembles their parents. So that process is called as reproduction. Okay. So reproduction, the ability of living things, to produce young ones, to produce the young ones of its own kind, or which resembles the parents, which resemble their parents. Okay. So this process is called as reproduction. So why reproduction is necessary? Because the living things will not survive forever. So once their lifespan gets over, they are going to perish, die. So in order to meet the needs, we have to reproduce, we have to grow plants. So that process is called as reproduction. Okay. Now how plants will reproduce? So the flowering plants, that is the plants which bear flowers, that is the flowering plants, will have flowers which is going to turn into fruits which will have seeds in them. So they are going to produce by seeds. Okay. But whereas the non-flowering plants like fern, mushrooms, bryophyllum, all those things, non-flowering plants. Okay, so from where they are going to reproduce, from which part new plants can be grown? From the other parts such as stems, leaf, root. Okay, so from the other part of the plant such as stems, leaf and root. So new plants can be grown. Okay, so plants which bear flowers can be grown from seeds, and which do not have flowers can be grown from the other parts such as stem, leaf and root. Okay, now we'll see how plants can be grown from seeds. So you all know that the flowering plants will contain flowers which will turn into fruit, and fruits will have the seeds, so which can be grown into a new plant. Okay, so when that seed is sown into the soil, and when it gets the right amount of air, water and warmth, so these three conditions are necessary for a seed to be grown. So what all it needs? It needs air, it needs water, it needs warmth. A seed, in order to grow into a new plant, so it needs air, it needs water, it needs warmth. So until it gets all the three in the right amount, it will not grow into a new plant. Okay, so these are the conditions necessary or required for a seed to grow into a new plant. So what are the conditions? Air, water and warmth or sunlight. So if a seed requires all the three, then only it can grow into a new plant. Understood? Yes. So as I said, if one condition does not satisfy, so if it does not get air, If it gets water and warmth, it will not grow. Or if it gets air, water, and if it does not get warmth, it will not grow. So all the three conditions, it should be in the right amount. That means it cannot get excess water or it cannot get excess sunlight. So it should be in the right amount, then only a seed can grow into a seedling or a plant. It can turn into a new plant. Okay. Even then, if it gets air, water and warmth, it is not necessary that all the seeds, whatever you sow into the soil, it can turn into a new plant. Okay. There are chances that once the seed has been sown, so the insects or the birds can come and eat the seeds, or the seeds will be carried away by the air or water, rain. So then some of the seeds may go waste. So it is not necessary that all the seeds, whatever is sown into the soil, it will turn into a new plant. Okay. So once it is properly sown into the soil and it gets air, water and warmth, then only it can turn into a new plant. Okay. So these are the conditions for a seed to grow. Okay, and then next we studied about the structure of the seed. So what are the parts of the seed? Structure of the seed in the sense parts of the seeds. So do you remember what are the parts of the seeds? I drew the diagram also and showed you, is it not? So what are the parts of the seed? The outer covering is the seed coat and inside is the cotyledons, and then the baby plant which grows is called the embryo. Okay, so this plant seed, especially seed, has three parts. Okay, so structure of a seed. Structure of a seed. So it has three parts: cotyledons, seed coat, and embryo or the baby plant. So these are the three parts. So when I drew the diagram, this, okay, so inside this the baby plant will start growing, this one. Okay, and outside it was like this one. Usually it is brownish color. Okay, so this, the brownish color, whatever you see, it is the seed coat. Okay, this part is the seed coat. This part is the seed coat. It is usually hard. So what is the function of this, or how it is useful is, it is going to protect this seed coat. It is going to protect the baby plant. It is going to protect the baby plant. Okay, so that is the function of that seed coat. It is going to protect the baby plant. Okay, and then next one is the cotyledons, or it is also called as seed leaves. It is also called as seed leaves. So once you sow the seed into the soil, and when it gets air, water and warmth, as I said, this seed coat is very hard. Okay, so once it is sown into the soil and when it gets water, air, so the outer covering will become soft and it is going to break open, and inside you have the cotyledons. So this is the cotyledons. This is the cotyledons. So what is the work of this cotyledons? It is going to store food for the baby plant. So you know that plants cannot prepare their own, plant will prepare their own food by the sunlight, air, warmth, from the green pigment which is present in the leaves called chlorophyll. So since it is small at the early stage, it does not have the leaves at all, so it cannot prepare the food. So whatever the food it is, when the seed is sown into the soil, whatever the nutrients it is going to get, so it is through this small hole here called micropyle. So through that it is going to enter into the seed, and this cotyledons is going to store the food for the baby plant. And when it gets air, water and warmth, it will start growing. So that baby plant, what it grows, it is called as embryo. The baby plant, what it grows is called as embryo. Okay, so this embryo later in the germination of the seeds I explained, no? So that will grow into the root system, and that is called as radicle, and it goes upwards and it forms the shoot system, and that is called as plumule. Okay, so this is the structure of the seed. Already I had explained, just I am revising it, that's all. Okay, understood children what are the structure of seed? And one more thing, this I said cotyledons. In that seeds there are two types of seeds. Okay, so few seeds, as I have drawn like this, will have only one cotyledons. Okay, so those seeds which has one cotyledon, they are called as monocotyledons. Monocotyledons, like rice, maize, they have one like this. So they have one, they are called as monocotyledons. Cotyledons will be only one, so they are called as monocotyledon. So one means monocotyledons, cotyledon. Okay, and few has two. Okay, so when the cotyledon breaks out, so it will be attached like this. So it will open like this, and the baby plant will start growing here. So first the root will start, no? So it will start growing here. So it has two cotyledons. So this is one cotyledon, this is one cotyledon. So it has two cotyledons. So they are called as dicotyledons. Okay, two cotyledons, they are called as dicotyledons. Got it? So example you can give bean or pea. So when your mother brings that vegetable pea or the bean, so when it is soft or try to break it open, so it becomes into two parts. So the seed which was one, so when you try to open, it becomes into two. So that is, each will become one cotyledon. So those seeds which have two cotyledons are called as dicotyledons, bean, pea. Understood? So this was not there, I revised it, keep it in mind. Okay, so seeds which have one cotyledon are called as monocotyledons, rice, maize, and then seeds with two cotyledons are called as dicotyledons. Got it? Okay, now shall we move to the next topic now? Now you have studied about the structure of the seed. So what is the next point? How the seed will grow. You remember the diagram? I think you have drawn it in your homework books also, and you have drawn it in your classwork also. Is it not? Okay, just we'll see how a seed will grow into a new plant. Okay, so now when the seed is sown into the soil, when it gets the right amount of air, water and warmth, it will start growing. Okay, so it starts growing. So this is the seed, this is the micropyle, through the hole through which the air, water or the nutrients will go inside. Okay, so when it is sown into the soil, when it gets air, water, as I said, this cotyledons which are hard usually will become soft, and the nutrients will enter into the seed through this micropyle. Okay, and then the bottom part of it will start growing, which will become the radicle, which is called the radicle, and in further it becomes the root system of the plant. Okay, so then the plant will start bearing the roots. Okay, and then here the seed coat will start breaking up. Got it? And then after that, so the root system will start, and after that the cotyledons, whatever it was there, so it will break, and it is going to start bearing the leaves. So that forms the shoot system of it, which is called as plumule. The shoot system, which is called the plumule. Okay, and then the cotyledons will be there in the plant until the plant bears the leaves. Until the plant bears the leaves, so the cotyledons will be there in the plant. So once the plant starts bearing the leaves, so this is the root system. Once it starts bearing the leaves, then the plant is ready to prepare its own food. So plant is ready for the photosynthesis. Then the cotyledons will dry and fall out. Okay, so from the seed it has changed to seedling or the baby plant. So this process is called as germination. So what it is called? It is called germination. So this process, so from seed it has changed to seedling. So this process is called germination of seeds. Okay, so why this germination, under what conditions it takes place? It requires air, it requires water, and it requires warmth or the sunlight. Okay, now for air, for what it is needed? All living organisms, for what the air is needed? To breathe, is it not? So even the seed also needs air to breathe. Okay, and then water. So why this water is needed? To make the seed coat soft and the nutrients to enter into the seed. Nutrients should enter into the seed, so that by pouring water to it, the seed coat becomes soft and the nutrients will enter into the seed. Okay, and then next, warmth. So for us, why we need sunlight? So that whatever the cells are there in our body, it should be active, so that the life process should go smoothly in order to be active. So that is also like extra nutrient for our body. So for the cells of the plants to be active, so we need this warmth. Okay, so under these conditions, under air, water and warmth, a seed will change into a baby plant. So this process is called as germination. Got it? Okay, next. Now suppose the seeds, whatever is grown in the plant, if it is not plucked, if the seeds fall below the parent plant itself, so some seeds, if it falls here only, okay, then what happens to these seeds? Do you think all the seeds which are fallen down there will grow into a new plant? It cannot, is it not? So once the conditions are satisfied, I said, that means once it gets the right amount of air, water and warmth, then only it will grow into a new plant. So if all the seeds fall below this parent plant itself, then they'll for all the seeds it will not get enough space, enough air, enough water, enough warmth. Then only those seeds which will get the conditions, which all the conditions are satisfied, only those seeds will grow into a new plant. Then other seeds will be waste. So in order to avoid that, in order to see that all the seeds which are sown into the soil, it will grow into a new plant. So the seeds should not be allowed to fall below the parent plant. It should be spread to far off places. Okay, so that spreading of the seeds to far off places is called dispersal of seeds. Okay, so spreading of the seeds to far off places, that is called as dispersal of seeds. So why seeds need to be dispersed? So if it falls below the parent plant only, then it does not, all the seeds will not get the enough space, enough air, water. So only those seeds which will get all those things will grow into a new plant, then other seeds will be waste. So to avoid that, so it should be spread off to far off places. That spreading off to far off places is called seed dispersal. Seed dispersal. Okay, seed dispersal. So scattering of seeds, away from the parent plant. Away from the parent plant. Got it? So scattering of seeds away from the parent plant. Okay. Now, as I said, what is the reason for seed dispersal? You all understood. Okay. Now, what happens? Suppose if the seeds fall below the parent plant only. So plants do not have hands to take the seeds and throw to far off places. Is it not? So there should be someone who is going to spread the seeds to far off places, throw the seeds to far off places. So that is done by few agents, okay, few things. They are called as agents of dispersal. Okay, there are somebody to help the plants, which will help the seeds to be thrown off to far off places. So they are called as agents of dispersal. Okay, so we'll see what are the different agents of dispersal. Yes, so we'll study about the agents of dispersal. Agents of dispersal. So what are the different agents of dispersal? Or the nature has given 4 ways by how the seeds are dispersed to far off places. Okay, so first one is dispersal by wind. Dispersal by wind. So you have already learned what kind of seeds are dispersed by wind. So the seeds which are very light in weight, like cotton, so they are easily carried away by the wind, and where the wind slows down, then there when it gets the right amount of air, water and warmth, it can grow into a new plant. Okay, or few seeds like sycamore, it has wings like structure. Okay, so they are also very light in weight. So when the wind blows, it will be easily carried away. Or dandelion has a hair-like structure, like parachute. It has a hairy structure on its seeds. Okay, so I drew that day. So this is the seed. This is the seed, and it has like this, and it has hair-like structures like this. Okay. So dandelion. So these seeds, when the wind blows, since it is very light, it will be easily carried away by the wind, and where the force of the wind stops, there it will be dropped and it can turn into a new plant. Okay. So first way is dispersal by wind. So where the speed of the wind stops, there new plant can be grown. Second one is dispersal by water. Dispersal by water. So this also, plants which grow in and near water, so they are easily carried away by the water, by the speed of the water. So example, lotus, water lily, coconut. So all these things will be carried away by the water, and where the force of the water stops, there the new plants can be grown. So the lotus seeds are embedded in a spongy cup-like thing. So when it dries, when it falls into water, and since it is light, it will be carried away by the water. And coconut also, outer one, it is very weight, but inner, because of that fiber what it has, thread-like thing, so it is soft and it is going to float on water. It is lightweight, so it will be carried away by the water, and it can travel so many kilometers away, and it can reach lakes, oceans also, coconut. So this is how the coconut is dispersed by water. Okay. And third one is dispersal by animals. Animals or birds or humans. So all are responsible for that. Birds, animals and humans. So the birds or the animals or even humans also, we eat the flesh part of the fruit and throw the seeds away. So the seed in that place, when it gets the right amount of air, water, it can turn into a new plant. Okay. Or for the animals or the birds especially, so the fleshy part, it will get, suppose if it eats the seeds also, fruits of small seeds like guava, if it eats also cherry, if it eats also, only the fleshy part will be digested and the seeds will be undigested. So it will come out of its body through the droppings of the birds or the waste by the animals. So it will come out and there it can grow into a new plant. Okay. So this is about the dispersal by animals, birds or humans. So even the animals, they have fur on their body. So some seeds have hook like thing, I said xanthium, so that hooks or thorns like thing. So when the animal passes or the human beings also we pass, so there are chances that it can stick to our clothes or the fur of the animals. And when we walk, move from that place and move to far off place, so there the seeds can get dropped and new plants can be grown by that. Okay. And then next one is dispersal by explosion. Dispersal by explosion. Dispersal by explosion. So explosion is nothing but bursting, I said. Okay. So dispersal by explosion is bursting. Okay. So they have pods like vegetables like peas. Okay, or beans. So they have pods and inside that they have the pea. So when these pods become ripe, okay, when the fruit becomes ripe, so this pods, whatever it is there, so it is going to open like this. It is going to burst and it is going to open like this. So this side and this side is going to open and the seeds get scattered to far off places. So this mechanism is called as explosion. So pea, beans, all these vegetables are scattered by this way. The seeds are dispersed by this way. Okay, so these are the 4 ways by which seeds are dispersed from one place to the other place, so that all the seeds, whatever is sown into the soil, can grow into a new plant. Okay, so this is seed dispersal. Next. Now, as I said, flowering plants, till now you learned that plants can be grown, how plants can be grown from the seeds. Okay, now what about the non-flowering plants? They don't have the fruits, it will not turn into seeds. So how the new plants can be grown? So it can be grown from the other parts of the plants. Okay, so we'll see from different parts of the plant how the plant can be grown. So the first one is reproduction from other parts of the stem, reproduction from other parts of the plant. Other parts of the plant. Okay, so we'll see that first one is stem or stem cuttings, you can say. Stem or the stem cuttings. So what are the plants which grow by this? I have already explained. Rose, sugarcane. Is it not? So rose, sugarcane can be, or hibiscus can be grown from this. So from the stem, okay. So at the edges they'll be having the buds like this. Okay, so if they cut that stem, place it in the soil, so it can be grown into a new plant. So example, rose, sugarcane, hibiscus, all these plants can be grown from stem cuttings. Okay, rose, sugarcane, hibiscus. Hibiscus. Got it? Okay, next one. Underground stem cuttings, I said. Next one is the underground stems. Underground stem. I said that the potato or ginger. So they have buds all over their body, potato or ginger. So they have buds all over their body. They are called as the eyes or the buds of the potato. So the potato which has buds, when it is sown into the soil, it can be grown into a new plant. Okay. So underground stem that has buds which is known as eyes. So potato and ginger are that one. Then in the underground stem only, so you have what is called as bulbs. So for onion, so you might have seen the onion, it has like this. So they are called the bulbs. Okay. So when this is sown into the soil, it can be grown. New plant can be grown from these bulbs. So which is the plant which is grown from the bulbs? It is onion. Got it? Understood? Okay. Next, from the leaves. From the leaves. So as I said, it is bryophyllum. So which has buds at the corners, at the edges, or those buds are also called as plantlets. Plantlets. So I drew the diagram the other day like this. The edges or the margin. So when this whole leaf is put in the moist soil, or when these plantlets or the buds dry and fall down into the soil, it can be grown into a new plant. Okay. And then one more plant, fern, as I said. Fern, it has long leaf. Okay. So underside those leaves, there are black dot like thing. So even they are called the buds only, or it is called as spores. Okay. So fern can be grown from spores. Fern can be grown from spores. Okay. Got it? And begonia. This like bryophyllum only, one more plant, begonia. So that also can be grown from the plantlets only. Okay, so this is one. Next one is by spores fern, I said. From leaves. This is about the leaves. Okay, spores fern. Next one is by roots. Roots. So the sweet potato and carrot. Sweet potato. Genesu you said, sweet potato and carrot. So they have the roots. If you see the vegetable, you will come to know that they have the roots in the side. So that when it is placed in the soil, it can be grown into a new plant. Okay. And two more is added. That is called as grafting. Okay. What is this grafting? In this method, a cutting of one plant is attached to the stem of other plant of the same kind, which is rooted in the soil. So this grafting, in this method, what they do is, so example you can take mango tree. Mango tree. Okay. So one tree will be there. So for this stem, so one more stem of the other one will be growing. Okay. So after few days, so since this has roots, even this also will go into the soil and it also starts bearing the roots. So then they're going to cut this and place it into the soil, so where they can get the new plant. New tree. Okay, so this method is called as grafting. So why this method is done is to take the characteristics. Now you know that for example I said mango. So few mango fruit will be sour and few will be sweet. The farmers will come to know whether it is soft, whether it is sour or sweet. So in order to combine those characters, now suppose if this is sour, if this is sweet, so what happens, the sweetness whatever is there, it will come to this plant also. If this is sweet and this is sour, so the sweetness will come to this plant also. Okay, so this method of growing plant is called as grafting. So the stem of one more plant will be attached to that, so that after when it grows, when it starts growing the root, so it will cut and place it in the some other way. Okay, so guava and mango are generally grown in this way. Okay, and one more way of growing is layering. One more method of growing plant is layering. Okay, so what is this layering is? So the flowering plant, it is raspberry or jasmine Okay, so it is done by this. So what happens is, now suppose the stem of this is there, root it is here, so the plant would have left the root like this. So what they are going to do is, they are going to bend this and sow it into the soil like this. They are going to sow it into the soil, put it inside the soil. Okay, so again when it gets the right amount of air, water, so even this also will start growing. It starts growing, bearing the leaves, bearing the fruits or the flowers. Okay, so that process is called as layering. So new plants can be grown from layering also. And then when again like that only, when it when it starts bearing the roots, so that can be cut. So here they can cut it. So here they can cut it and place that into another place, new place. So where there the plant can be grown. Okay, so these are the ways by which the plants can be grown. Okay, yes. Now we'll move to the last topic. Last topic now, crop protection. Okay. Not crop protection, growing crops only. Till now you have learned how plants can be grown from seeds or the different plants parts. Okay. Now, if the plants have grown in the smaller quantity in our house, so it is not sufficient to supply it for the larger quantity. So plants should be grown in the larger quantity. Okay, so the plants what is grown in the larger quantity is called as crops, and the practice of growing is called as agriculture, and the method how it is grown is called as cultivation. Okay, so the large scale production of crops for food is called as agriculture, and growing crops in the fields by the farmers is called as cultivation. Okay, so farmers know what kind of seeds should be sown, and you know that different plants will grow in different soil, and it grows in different climates. So depending on that, the farmers should decide what kind of plants should be grown, in what kind of weather it should be grown, what kind of soil it should be grown. Okay, so based on that, the crops are classified into two types, depending on the season where it grows, in which season it grows. So the crops are classified into two types. Okay, so maize, for example, the maize, jute, cotton. Maize, jute, cotton. Okay, so all these three, they require heavy rains. They require heavy rains, more water, heavy rains. So it should be grown in the June to October. So this, since it requires heavy rain, these should be grown in the months June to October. Okay, so these crops are called as kharif crops. These crops are called as kharif crops. These crops are called as kharif crops. On the other hand, crops like wheat, beans, and mustard. So they require less water. So they require light winter rains. So they don't require more. So they require less rain. So it should be grown in the winter season, that is from November. It can be in November. So it is called as rabi crop. Okay. So these two you didn't have there. It is called as rabi crop. Depending upon the season where it grows, how it grows. So crops are classified into two. So the one which requires heavy rain, it is called kharif, and which requires less rain, it is called rabi crops. So wheat, beans, mustard are rabi crops, and maize, jute, cotton are called as kharif crops. Okay, so it is not the duty of a farmer. Once he sows the seed into the soil, his work is over, so he can wait till the harvesting gets. Is it not? No. So he has to follow some rules, so or some methods, so that he will get the good yield. So this also you have studied already, is it not? So do you remember what are the 6 steps or the 6 practices what the farmer has to do? Okay. So they are the agricultural practices. LTU, agricultural practices. Agricultural practices. So what are the agricultural practices? So what is the first one? Directly can he sow the seed into the soil? As you know that the land will be dry sometimes or hard sometimes. So what he has to do? He has to plow. So the first thing what he has to do is plowing. Okay. So plowing the field. So why he has to plow the field? As I said, the soil will be hard. So once he plows that field with the ox or with the tractor, so the soil will become loose. And once the seed is put into the soil, and once it gets the water warm, so it can easily go inside, and once it starts growing, even the roots also will penetrate, will go inside the soil easily. Okay, and whatever the nutrients are present inside, it can come to the upper layer by losing the soil. Whatever nutrients are present inside, it can come to the outermost layer, and the seed can get easily the nutrients, and whatever the seed he has sown will grow into a new plant. Okay, so next one, after the plowing is over, he has to sow the seeds. Sowing the seeds. So this is also very, very important. So I said in the last class only when I explained, know that as you sow, so you reap. So the quality of the seeds, whatever he is sowing, should be good. So if he sows good quality of seeds, then he will get good yield. So if the quality of the seeds is poor, so the yield also will be poor. So, and one more point, and the place where he sows, that means at distant places he has to sow the seeds. It is not that all the seeds he put at one place only and wait for the yield to get. You know that dispersal, why the seed dispersal is necessary. So if he sows all the seeds in one place only, then all the seeds will not get enough space, air, water, and few seeds may go waste. So in order that all the seeds, whatever is sown, so will turn into a new plant. So distance should be maintained within the seeds, so that it will grow into a new plants. Okay, and then as I said, the quality of the seeds, one is important, and next distant places he has to sow, and then the climate, just now I explained, crops are divided into two depending upon the season. So he has to see the season also. He cannot sow the rabi crop seed in kharif crop season and kharif crop in the rabi season. So it will go waste. For a seed, if it is excess amount of water also, it go waste, and if there is lack of water also, it will go waste. Is it not? So depending on the season also, he has to see the season also, and then sow the seeds. Okay, And then these seeds also, the way how he sows the seed. So earlier it was manual, so he will only take the seeds and throw. But nowadays there are machines which will help. So it will have small holes so that it will put into distant places to avoid that. To avoid all the seeds falling in the same place. So you have machines now. So once you put the seeds into that machine, so if you move that machines, so the seeds automatically will be placed in different places, far off places. So they are called as seed drills. Okay, so that to avoid the crowding of the seeds, to avoid that crowding of the seeds, this is necessary. Okay, third one is adding fertilizers. Once the seeds are sown into the soil, so for extra nutrient, the soil has the nutrients in it. So for the extra nutrient, so you have to add this fertilizers. Okay, so fertilizers are manures, the decayed part of the plants. Okay, or chemically man-made fertilizers are also there. They are called as chemical fertilizers. Example, urea, phosphate, all those things. So you might have seen in the movies or in some pictures. So they carry one tank and pipe will be connected to that, and they are going to spray for that. Okay, so they add the manures. So these fertilizers are of two types. So manure and chemical fertilizers. Manure and chemical fertilizers. Okay, so this manure is nothing but the decayed part of the plants or the cow dung it might be. So that is manure. And chemical fertilizers, as I said, the man-made. So this is cow dung or the decay of plants, decayed part of plants, decayed plant part. Okay, so that is manure. Or he can spray the chemical fertilizers, put the chemical fertilizers like urea or phosphate. Urea or phosphate. Okay, so these are some chemical fertilizers, even nitrates also. Okay, so it is better to put this manure only because it is all from the plants and animals only. This name only says it is chemical fertilizer. So when you spray that or when you apply to that, there are chances that even it can enter to the seed also, and it can cause harm for the plant also. Chemical, it is chemical. So it is better to avoid this and use this manure only. Okay, and the next step is after you put the fertilizers, the next step is irrigation. That is watering the field, irrigation. So you know that for all the living beings, water is very, very essential. So irrigation is very, very important. So once you sow the seeds, apply the fertilizers. For that, irrigation is very, very important. Okay, so once it gets the water, it can grow into a new plants. So in this irrigation only, there are many types. Okay, so it can be dip irrigation, spring irrigation, so many irrigation, so many ways by which water can be put or given to the fields. So this irrigation is also most important thing what the field should get, so that the seed will grow into a new plant. Okay, and then after irrigation, when the seed gets the right amount of air, water and warmth, the seed will start growing, and the crop protection. So for all these steps, so the farmer would have taken so much of time, so much of his pains. So once the seed will start growing, once the seedling will start growing, it will be his important work to protect his crop. So protect the crop from what? From fungus it might be. So these are microorganisms which cannot be seen. So fungus it might be, pests it might be, like rat, moles, okay, or the unwanted plants, what it grows, weeds, it might be. Okay, so from these, all these, he has to protect his crop, so that he has to spray insecticides, insecticides or pesticides, or he has to pull out the unwanted plants, the weeds which are grown in the before early stage on itself, so that it will not hamper the growth of the plant whatever he has grown. Okay, so he has to spray all those things so that he will protect his crop. Okay, and as I said, in some of the fields, statue of a person in the dry grass they would have made and put clothes for that and hat for that. So that is called as scarecrow. I said scarecrow. Okay. So that if birds, if it sees when it is flying, if the bird sees some seedling coming out in that field, what they are going to do, they come and eat. So to avoid that, so what the birds will think, oh, some person is standing there, they think, and they don't enter. Okay, and in some places what they do in order to protect from the animals, so these people, they take the animals for grazing there. So to avoid that, what they do, they put the fences around their field. In the stones and in the wire, they would put the thorny wire, they would put the fence, they would cover the field, so that the animals will not enter into their field and destroy the crops. Okay. Yes, and last one is, so after doing all those things, after the crops will start growing, it is his duty to collect the mature crop. So that collecting the mature crop is called as harvesting. Collecting the mature crop is called as harvesting. Okay, so he has to cut and collect the crop. It is not, its duty is not over only if he collects and keeps the crop. So it will be, he has to store it, so that stored properly and it protect from the pests, so that it will grow into a new plant. It will be stored properly. So after he has grown, it is his duty to harvest. After harvesting, that is collecting the mature crop. This harvesting is collecting the mature crop, collecting and protecting the mature crop. Okay, so he has to store it properly, so that he is going to protect it from the moisture, that is wet, or from the pests. So he has to store it properly, and transporting is also important. So once he gets the crop, he will place it or put it in the godowns. So he can't store it there only for the longer time. So he has to transport it, or he has to sell it to the people where they are going to buy. So he has to transport it. So if it is not perishable, that is, if it will not get damaged, he can transport it slowly. But the fruits, vegetables, or the flowers, all these are perishable. That means it will not stay for a longer time. So he has to transport it quickly, so that whatever yield he will get, it will not get spoiled. Okay, so this is about the first lesson about growing plants, which you have already studied. It has been revised. Okay, now I'm going to give the assignment. Copy down and write it in your assignment homework book 3 times. Okay, I've already given few fill in the blanks, is it not? So today you copy few more, which is in your textbook. So once you get your textbook, I'm going to give the exercises again. Okay, so today's homework, it is fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. First one, copy down in your rough book, or you can copy it in directly in your homework book only, but it should be written 3 times. Okay. First, most plants reproduce from stems. Most plants reproduce from stems. Second, birds and animals help in dispersal of seeds. Next, third, cotyledons contain food for the baby plant. Okay. Next, fourth, the scattering of seeds away from the mother plant is called dispersal. Last, potato is an underground stem. Yes. So these 5 fill in the blanks you have to write 5 times and submit it by Wednesday. Submit your homework Wednesday. Okay, children. So this was the first lesson which I wanted to revise it again. In the next lesson, we'll go with the second lesson. Thank you, children.